Hello, my name is Tatiana Linson, and today we are going to talk about one of the most important, in my opinion, sustainable development goals for our society nowadays, Sustainable Development Goal number 10, reduced inequalities. So at first we need to define what exactly is the goal here, and it's very simple. It's to reduce inequalities within and among countries. Why do we need to do that? Inequalities based on income, sex, age, disability, sexual orientation, race, class, ethnicity, religion, and opportunity continue to persist around the world, within and among countries. Inequality threatens long-term social and economic development, harms poverty reduction, and destroys people's sense of fulfillment and self-worth. This, in turn, can breed crime, disease, and environmental degradation. So, now we need to talk about the insides of the goal. Inequalities in income and wealth are severe and have been widening globally. The richest 1% of the world's population now control up to 40% of global assets, while the poorest half owns just 1%. Can you imagine that? The richest, just 1% of the world, controls almost the half of the global assets. It's simply impossible to imagine. And the other half of the world owns just 1%. This is truly what we cannot call equality, and that can be so. Income equality between countries is higher than that within a large majority of countries, such that individual incomes are still largely associated with the person's citizenship and location. We sure can judge, or we usually do judge, of people's location as we know what their income and social status are. And it works the other way around as well. Wide and often mutually reinforcing disparities are also evident within countries, including disparity in terms of rural or urban disparities, household wealth, gender, ethnic minorities, and indigenous people, migrant status, and disability. So, now it's quite clear for us what is the income of the person if we know one of his statuses, and that totally shouldn't be so, because that's how we unequally treat people around us. So now we need to explain what are the key business themes addressed by the goal. So the first one is availability of products and services for those on low incomes. Of course, we understand that nowadays incomes are not equal for all people, but still, services and products should be available for all. Such key services as, for instance, water or food should be accessible for everyone, as well as access to financial services. It's totally a goal for this goal. The equal remuneration for women and men, so equal work, equal pay. No one can receive non-equal money for the same job. Also, some themes addressed by Sustainable Development Goal 10 is capacity building, diversity and equal opportunity, and economic inclusion. These all are very, very important for the society nowadays, as we all understand that without it, the world is not sustainable at all. So the global impact of the Goal 10 lies in the understanding that we are all equal. And no matter if we're talking about inequalities between the developing countries and the developed one, or on inequalities within the countries, it's important to feel all the people feel equal, and we need to ensure that they are really treated equally. To quote some facts, Evidence from developing countries show that children in the poorest 20% of the populations are still up to 3 times more likely to die before their 5th birthday than children in the richest quintiles. So, we know that medicine is developing rapidly, and still the evidence shows that many children die in the developing countries because of the conditions they are raised in. So now we're going to talk about the impact of business. So what the businesses should do and can do nowadays is to, at first, respect human rights. This includes adopting and implementing policies on respect for human rights, including workers' rights, for instance, collective bargaining, decent work conditions, and etc. So all the people should be treated like people, and human rights should be equally respected on the workplace. We also need to talk about inclusiveness of the working process, and businesses should provide empowerment for marginalizing groups in the workplace, marketplace, and community. So if the people from marginalized group, they should still have some opportunities to participate and to have a workplace and to act as normal people. And also what businesses should do is to avoid exploitation, because sometimes third parties such as recruitment agencies are used to source labor, and of course that can lead to some terrible consequences. For instance, they might place migrant workers at risk of exploitation, and they can be used as forced labor. And now we need to define the key business indicators for these sustainable development goals. For instance, one of them is, does the company's system have policies or programs promoting equal opportunities, regardless of gender and other diversities, that explicitly extend to the entire value chain? This business indicator shows the impact of the business and how equal it is for everyone. And it's also important that it is extended to the entire value chain, so it can be counted as one of the those affecting not only society but environment too. Other business indicators are ratio of business basic salary and remuneration of women and men by employee category, by significant locations of operations, and percent of women clients accessing two or more distinct types of voluntary financial products. So these indicators are to serve equality between women and men, and of course that's very important because still there are stereotypes and disadvantages in the treating of women and men equally, and that's awful. Another business indicator is presence in markets which give access to underserved or disadvantaged populations, because if people have some disabilities, they of course should be treated equally too, and they equally deserve the same services as others. So to sum up, I need to say that we are all equal, and that's what we should understand if we live in modern society, and that's what people all around the world should understand. So no inequality between developing and developed countries should exist, as well as no racism and no inequality between people. We are all born equal. We all have our own beliefs, and it's our choice to understand that. We should treat each other equally, and Earth will be a better and more sustainable place. Thank you for your attention.